Once upon a time, Shannon Sharpe was the internet's favorite loudmouth uncle. Super Bowl rings on his fingers, cigars in hand, memes flying left and right, and a seat on national television where he got paid to argue for a living. Life was good. He was winning both on and off the field. Until, of course, he wasn't. Because here's the thing. When you mix unchecked ego with a microphone and a god complex, the results are rarely graceful. One moment you're sipping Hennessy on a Monday morning broadcast, the next you're dodging lawsuits, burning bridges, and beefing with everyone who once applauded you. This is the story of how Shannon Sharpe fumbled something bigger than football, his legacy. And trust me, it's messier than a Skip Bayless hot take. Before the scandals, before the drama, before the passive-aggressive shade and courtroom whispers, there was Shannon Sharpe, the football god. And let's be real, the man was a beast. 3 Super Bowl rings, 8 Pro Bowl appearances, and a Hall of Fame induction that basically said, yeah, he owned the 90s. But Sharpe wasn't just winning on the field, he had personality. He talked trash like it was an Olympic sport, wore suits so loud they could be heard through the TV, and somehow convinced America that sipping Black and Milds and yak on live television was just his thing. So what did the networks do? They handed him a mic and said, go off. Enter Undisputed, a daily debate show that basically let Shannon cook while Skip Bayless stirred the pot with his usual mix of nonsense and fake outrage. And for a while it worked. Shannon became a meme machine. Twitter loved him, Gen Z called him Unk. He was the man who made sports commentary fun again. But you know what they say? When you're on top too long, eventually, the ground starts looking real shaky. The beef era begins now. Let's talk about when things stopped being funny and started getting personal. Shannon and Skip Bayless, TV's most dysfunctional duo, went from bantering like a married couple to beefing like 2 uncles fighting at Thanksgiving dinner. And the cracks? Oh, they were loud. It all started with subtle eye rolls and passive jabs. But things hit a whole new level when Skip decided to tweet something mind-blowingly insensitive about Damar Hamlin collapsing mid-game. America was praying, and Skip? He was calculating playoff schedules. Cue public outrage. Shannon tried to take the high road. Tried. He skipped the next show out of protest. When he finally came back, Skip cut him off mid-sentence, live on air. That's when the energy shifted. You could feel the respect exit the studio like it owed someone money. From that point on, it wasn't debate, it was war with commercial breaks. And while the public sided with Shannon, because, let's be honest, Skip Bayless arguing with actual logic is like watching a fish ride a bicycle. The writing was on the wall. This partnership had an expiration date, and it was rotting in real time. Eventually, Shannon walked. Or maybe he was pushed. Depends on who's telling the story. But leaving Undisputed wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of his main character arc, and not in a good way. The podcast pivot. After the Undisputed fallout, Shannon Sharpe didn't disappear like most TV hosts caught in workplace drama. Oh no. He did what any media-savvy man with a chip on his shoulder and a Rolodex full of celebrity numbers would do. He built his own empire. Club Shay Shay wasn't just a podcast. It was a revenge tour with lighting and lavalier mics. And to be fair, it worked. At first, the show blew up faster than Skip Bayless's blood pressure during a Lakers game. Guests lined up, views skyrocketed. Then Cat Williams pulled up and absolutely detonated every name in comedy. We're talking scorched earth honesty, YouTube algorithm breaking virality, and a media storm that made Club Shay Shay the hottest set in town. Shannon was back, and this time uncensored. No producers telling him to tone it down, no co-hosts interrupting with spicy hot takes from the land of delusion. Just him, his guests, and a golden opportunity to rebuild his image as the people's champ. But here's where it gets messy. You give a man that much mic time with no one to check him, and eventually the hot takes start coming in too hot. One moment he's asking a thoughtful question, the next he's beefing with Stephen A. Smith and calling out entire media outlets like he's auditioning for Real Housewives of ESPN. And the wardrobe? Oh, let's talk about the wardrobe. Somewhere between influencer uncle and fashionably unhinged preacher, Shannon started dressing like he was going to either a nightclub or a TED Talk. Nobody could quite tell. Silk shirts tighter than Skip's grip on outdated LeBron slander. Glasses that screamed, "I do crypto and Pilates." We got it, Shannon. You work out. A lot. But behind the viral clips and carefully cropped thumbnails, the tone of the podcast began to shift. What started as interviews slowly turned into rants. Less storytelling, more score settling, less curiosity, more ego. He started calling out fans, blocking critics, and dragging minor beefs into the spotlight, like it was his full-time job. Yes, people were still watching, but the vibe had changed. What once felt like smart, cultural commentary now felt like watching a man slowly unravel in 4K. And here's the truth. Podcast fame is fickle. One week you're a trending topic, the next you're just another grown man yelling on the internet. And when you build your platform around being the guy who tells it like it is, eventually people start wondering if how it is just bitterness in a nice watch. Legal accusations. The Zuniga scandal. Now here's where the polished TV persona, the cigar-smoking podcast king, and everyone's favorite Yinsi took a sharp left into a full-blown PR nightmare. In early 2024, Gabriela Zuniga, a fitness trainer, influencer, and ex-acquaintance of Shannon Sharpe, accused him of sexual misconduct. Not in a press conference, not through an attorney, nope. In true Gen Z fashion, she dropped a bomb straight on Instagram Live, crying on camera and exposing details that would make even TMZ raise an eyebrow. Her claims? That Shannon Sharpe assaulted her, manipulated her emotionally, and weaponized his fame to silence her. She didn't hold back. She named names. She described locations. She hinted at a pattern of behavior. Screenshots of DMs, photos of her crying, a vague, "I'm not the only one" message. It was all part of the rollout. And while Shannon Sharpe didn't respond with a bold denial or a heartfelt video, his silence was deafening. His legal team did what legal teams do, issued a bland, non-committal statement reminding everyone of ongoing investigations and no official charges. Translation: please stop tweeting about this. But here's the thing. When you're famous, silence speaks louder than words. People don't wait for facts. They form opinions faster than you can say unsubscribed. And in a culture addicted to taking sides, Shannon was suddenly walking through a digital courtroom with no defense and no jury. Just millions of opinions and a reputation hanging by a thread. Now let's get real. Was there any official case filed? No. Police involved, but no charges. Legal outcome? Still unclear. But this wasn't about the law, it was about optics. And in the era of #MeToo and cancel culture, perception is often reality. The platforms that once boosted Shannon's voice? Quiet. His podcast, Club Shay Shay? Still running, but noticeably avoiding the elephant in the room. His fans? Split. Some demanded accountability, others screamed setup. And Shannon? He went right back to interviewing comedians and athletes like nothing happened. Business as usual. Except, it wasn't. The scandal hit at the worst possible time. Shannon had just broken away from the corporate safety net of Undisputed. He was independent now, no PR team filtering his words, no network cleaning up behind him. So, when the accusations surfaced, they stuck harder. There was no suit and tie press moment, just a man, a podcast, and a very serious allegation. Let's also talk strategy, or lack thereof. Instead of confronting the issue, issuing clarity, or even acknowledging the emotional weight of the situation, Shannon doubled down on silence and sarcasm. A few cryptic tweets, a smirk here, a comment about haters there, like this was just another social media spat, not a serious accusation that could destroy everything he'd built. Meanwhile, Zuniga kept posting. She didn't go away. She continued hinting at receipts, gaining sympathy and amassing an army of people who believed her, without ever seeing a courtroom. Now, here's the brutal reality. Even if Shannon is innocent, the public stain is already set in ink, not pencil. Once a narrative forms around you as that guy who might have assaulted someone, it clings. especially when you're a 50-something-year-old ex-athlete with a loud voice and an even louder ego. And if you think this is just a phase, he'll ride out with a few podcast episodes and an apology buried in a tweet. Think again. In today's media landscape, a scandal ignored is a scandal multiplied. The fallout, brand partnerships, some paused, some ghosted. Mainstream media kept their distance. Podcast guests getting pickier. Fans growing more skeptical by the week. So whether Shannon Sharpe is guilty, innocent, or somewhere in that foggy middle ground, one thing is clear. His legacy just took a hit that no helmet can protect against. Obsession with younger women. Shannon Sharpe used to be the man your dad respected and your little brother quoted. But somewhere along the podcast fame highway, UNC took an exit labeled, "I only date women born after my NFL retirement." Yes, Shannon's obsession with dating significantly younger women has become louder than his sports takes. What once may have been shrugged off as men being men has now turned into a full-blown pattern, and not the cute kind. We're talking about a grown man pushing 56 who keeps telling the world unprovoked that 25 is his limit, like he's offering discounts at a nightclub. He jokes about it, tweets about it, and practically builds a wing of Club Shay Shay around it. And sure, the internet used to laugh along. But now it's starting to feel less funny and more like we're watching a midlife crisis dressed in Amiri jeans and a Cartier watch. And it's not just fans raising eyebrows anymore, celebrities are calling it out. When Cat Williams came on Club Shay Shay and broke the internet with his brutal honesty, he didn't just come for comedians. He warned Shannon directly, told him with that classic Cat Williams smirk that his obsession with younger women was going to backfire. You can't be 55 thinking you understand a 25-year-old just because she laughs at your jokes. That's not chemistry, that's survival instinct. Cat Williams, live on Shannon's own platform. It was the kind of call-out that was both hilarious and deeply uncomfortable. You could almost see the gears turning in Shannon's head. And then, he laughed it off, because of course he did. And then came Monty Slaughter, reality TV star, singer, and full-time truth-teller, who didn't sugarcoat a damn thing. She flat out accused Shannon of inappropriate behavior toward her, claiming he was sliding into her DMs, making her uncomfortable and flexing his status like a pass. She didn't say it as a joke, she said it as a warning. This man is out here pretending to be everyone's uncle but acting like a thirsty freshman in the DMs. Monty Slaughter, Instagram Live. It was raw, it was blunt, and it turned heads. And while Shannon tried to brush it off like he does with every scandal, by not addressing it directly and hoping people forget, this one lingered. The screenshots didn't help. The fact that he kept tweeting about younger women didn't help. The fact that his entire dating philosophy sounded like it came from a podcast episode called How to Scare Off Mature Women really didn't help. The result? His once favorable public image, built on discipline, intelligence, and grown man energy, is now being quietly rebranded by the internet as that uncle who makes things weird at the cookout. Meme pages started roasting him. Tweets started calling him Zaddy Gone Wild. TikTokers began stitching his clips with the caption, "Sir, please put your phone down and go read a book." What makes this unraveling so fascinating, so tragic, is that it's entirely self-inflicted. Nobody forced Shannon to talk about dating younger women. Nobody dragged that information out of him. He volunteered it, again and again, like it was something we were all dying to hear. But instead of admiration, he's getting mockery. Instead of respect, he's getting side eyes. And instead of building a legacy that aged like wine, he's giving off serious man who peaked in 2001 and won't let go vibes. Let's be real. When Cat Williams, a man known for chaos, politely tells you to chill, and you don't, you might just be the problem. Can he bounce back? The million-dollar question, literally and figuratively, is this. Can Shannon Sharpe come back from all of this, or has the man who once dominated the field and the screen finally fumbled the one thing that kept him untouchable? His credibility. Because let's be honest, Shannon's downfall isn't just about one scandal. It's the pattern, the ego, the unchecked behavior, the refusal to evolve. From public feuds to legal accusations, from creepy dating habits to tone-deaf responses, it's starting to look like he's more committed to being right than being respected. But here's the thing. America loves a comeback story. Just ask Mike Tyson, or Robert Downey Jr., or literally anyone who's ever cried on a podcast and dropped a 5-minute apology video with sad piano music in the background. If Shannon really wanted to bounce back, he could. But it would take something he's avoided this entire time: accountability. He'd have to acknowledge the accusations without deflecting, address the dating weirdness without turning it into a bad punchline, drop the ego and stop acting like being real means being reckless. Actually evolve, publicly and intentionally. Because the truth is, being loud doesn't equal being right. And for someone who preaches wisdom, fitness, and grown man energy, his recent behavior has been anything but grown. Now, if he chooses to keep going the current route, brushing off criticism, doubling down on his bad habits, and surrounding himself with yes men and 24-year-olds, then no, there's no bounce back. There's just decline, quietly disguised as independence. But if he pulls a pivot, gets humble, gets real, and stops performing for the algorithm, he might actually save what's left of his legacy. He has the platform. He has the voice. What he's missing is the one thing people trusted him for in the first place: wisdom. The ball's in his court. Legacy or lunacy? Shannon Sharpe was once the blueprint. Hall of Famer, media icon, viral king, and the uncle everybody wanted at their cookout. But somewhere along the way, the charisma turned into cockiness, the wisdom turned into ego, and the brand? Well, it started to look more like a parody of itself. He went from setting standards to setting off red flags, laughing off serious accusations, dating women half his age like it's a flex, and turning every platform he touches into a mirror for his own insecurities. This wasn't just a fall from grace, it was a slow, arrogant descent, wrapped in designer clothes and bad decisions. And the saddest part? It was preventable. Shannon didn't get cancelled. He self-sabotaged. He didn't lose fans. He pushed them away. And he didn't get too real. He just forgot the difference between being authentic and being irresponsible. So, can he bounce back? Sure. But only if he stops performing and starts reflecting. Because in the end, you don't get to keep your legacy just because you earned it once. You have to protect it, especially when no one's cheering anymore. And right now, the crowd's not cheering. They're watching, they're waiting, and they're one viral mistake away from writing him off completely. If you made it this far, congratulations. You survived the roller coaster that is Shannon Sharpe's public unraveling. Now it's your turn. Do you think Shannon's downfall is his own doing? Or is he just another celebrity caught in the crossfire of cancel culture? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Be honest. Be loud. I'll be reading. Hit that like button if you think accountability shouldn't be optional, even for Hall of Famers. And if you know someone who still thinks UNC is untouchable, send them this video. They need it more than Shannon needs a social media detox. And don't forget to subscribe, because this channel doesn't just spill the tea, we brew the whole damn pot.